Luka Doncic will be the most hated MVP ever, but why? No one is carrying their team quite like Luka, who is averaging 33.6 points, 8.1 rebounds, and 9.1 assists, whilst improving in all the areas fans and media highlighted as issues throughout his career. Despite this, the media still ranks Luka 5th on the MVP ladder, making it clear that MVP isn't even about who the most valuable player is anymore. Before we dive into that, let's break down the two areas Luka has shown huge growth in this season, defense and shooting, and an area that I believe is heavily holding him back from winning MVP this year. A big issue throughout Luka's career has been his defense, but I don't think Luka has a defensive issue. I believe it's something deeper. A key strategy for opposing teams is to have whoever Luka is guarding set a ball screen, which the Mavs, according to their base defensive philosophy, will switch in order to attack Luka. This strategy has worked well for teams. As you can see here, Luka just gets blown by and provides little to no effort in keeping Brogdon in front, just going for a lazy wraparound steal. But when Luka is locked in, his 6'8", 230-pound frame allows him to be elite at getting chest stops. Notice how he pushes off his right foot, whereas traditionally you are taught to push off your left in this situation. This is what I call a hustle slide. Luka pushes off his outside foot into Steph's space and uses his chest to stop Steph in his tracks. Steph tries to drive through, but Luka's strength prevents Steph from breaking the paint, forcing him into a tough fadeaway.
Really tough shot.
Nobody's gonna ask me about my defense, but okay.
Again, notice Luka's outside foot. As Wiggins counters, Luka pushes off this outside foot, hustling his chest into Wiggins' space, forcing Wiggins to stop and counter with a spin move. Luka remains disciplined, not jumping or fouling, just contesting and getting the rebound. Perfect defense again. If Luka does get beat, he showcases exactly what you should do, so pay attention. As per usual, the Blazers want to attack Luka in pick and roll. Simons gets the switch, using a nice in and out hezzy to blow past Luka. But notice what Luka does. Luka turns his chest to the sideline and runs alongside Simons. Luka's goal now is to be physical with Simons and squeeze him towards Derrick Jones Jr., decreasing the space that he can drive into. Luka not giving up on this play and performing a beautiful turn and run, plus squeezing him into his teammate, allows Derrick Jones Jr. to swipe down and get a steal.
Nobody's gonna ask me about my defense, but okay.
However, despite his clear individual defensive improvements, Luka still struggles in two areas. Here the Wolves use a beautiful play to get Luka involved in the pick and roll. Conley screens Luka, knowing the Mavs are a switching team, so Luka switches on to Conley. This then becomes a step-up pick and roll, which Luka does a terrible job of navigating the pick, leaving Conley wide open. Now, you don't need to look very far on the Mavs roster to see exactly how it should have been done. Watch how as soon as Josh Green realizes a pick is coming, he deletes the space between Conley and himself, getting attached to his hip and forcing Conley to use the pick. He plants his outside foot and avoids any contact from Gobert, completely preventing any advantage from being created, perfectly navigating the pick. But I think Luka's number one defensive issue is actually this. Luka tends to lose focus on defense. Here Kuminga fakes the handoff, and Luka seems to be half asleep. Or in this play, he just completely forgets to box out Naz Reid, resulting in the putback dunk. Despite this, when Luka wants to be an elite defender, he has shown he can be. This is a huge improvement, and if he can master navigating screens, then it's unfair to say he's a bad defender. Let's see what Stephen A. Smith has to say next.
Because Luka doesn't shoot with accuracy.
Luka has taken a huge leap so far this season. He is attempting 10.4 threes a game whilst making an average of 4, shooting 38% from 3, which is a huge improvement. It's clear Luka has come into the season in shape and has been slowly silencing all the critiques about his game, truly turning him into a legitimate MVP candidate. But before we dive into what's holding Luka back and why he deserves to win MVP, let's break down two areas Luka is already excelling in offensively. Luka has always been one of, if not the best pick and roll player in the league. His size, combined with his IQ, allows him to make insane reads like this one and passes with extreme accuracy, leading to his teammates finding easy shots. In this situation, all Luka has to do versus the switch is read the weak side corner player, in this case Markkanen, on whether he tags in or not. Pay attention to Lowry here and tell me if he is A, moving to tag Lively, or B, staying with Derrick Jones. Lowry is taking away Lively, therefore Luka finds Derrick Jones Jr. with a strike pass.
Hit a two-pointer.
A strike pass is a term for finding a perfect pass, just like bowling, a pass right down the middle, hitting all 10 fingers perfectly. This allows Jones Jr. to get straight into his shot, and it's a perfect example of why Luka deserves to win MVP. This season, Jones is attempting 4 times as many threes as any other season in his career, shooting 4.1 a game while shooting a better percentage than his whole career at 34%.
What? Derrick Jones Jr. nails the 3.
Now this next clip showcases just how high Luka's basketball IQ is. Because Luka is so dominant versus single coverage, teams literally have to double team him. Here the Wolves double Luka, but instead of Luka stopping here and waiting to read the tag at Cat, he drags Rudy and Ant away, increasing the space that Ant or Rudy would have to cover to rotate out of the inevitable pass to either Powell or Derrick, freeing Powell for the and one.
Inside Powell. Bucket and the foul.
Versus the double, Luka will execute elementary concepts. Look how Luka just quickly fakes the high lob pass before bouncing it through to Powell for a short roll catch, who then passes to where the help came from to find Kyrie for the clutch 3.
Deep corner.
Whilst Luka is elite at dissecting double teams, the Mavs' lack of strategy for preventing these double teams is hurting their success this season. However, there is a solution. I would love to see the Mavs run something like this. A guard screening Lively or Powell's man, loosening them up so they are half a second late on the double, freeing Luka on the drive to make decisions. Because right now, almost all Mavericks possessions just look like this. But if the Mavs can create single coverage and avoid doubles, they could look like this.
Guys, you have to keep off the glass to do a good job of getting extra possessions for the team.
The other aspect of Luka's game that I love is this. The Mavs flipped this pick at the last second, using Kamara's initially perfect defensive stance against him, freeing Luka for the drive. Now this is what I love. Luka is one of the most patient finishers in the league. Or on this possession, where the Warriors, for whatever reason, have Looney switch onto Luka, and notice how hard he slams the break on his final step. He literally just waits on the step until Looney has flown past before finishing. But you might be thinking, what if Looney just stays there? If the defender is still with Luka and not flying by, instead of stopping on his last step, he will step into their frame. You can see how Luka steps into Cat, bumping him out of the way to create space for a little floater off the glass. So we've seen Luka improve in the 2 areas NBA media and fans have said that he sucks at, while still being an elite pick and roll player and finisher around the rim. So what's holding Luka back from being the front runner for MVP right now? Let's watch. Now it's hard to tell if Luka actually got fouled here, but it doesn't matter since it didn't get called. Instead of focusing on being a leader on the defensive end, Luka spends the early seconds of the possession complaining to the baseline ref. As a coach, this drives me nuts. The Mavs are doubling here, and if a player happens to be open for a cut, since Luka is in the weak side corner, it would be his job to tag and take this away. Luckily, this doesn't happen. He then perfectly plays the take 2. Next possession, Luka manages to drive around the double into a floater, and in my eyes, Kyle Anderson is there with plenty of time and doesn't jump forward, so therefore never fouls Luka. But Luka starts to complain again. Luka, in these moments, needs to be a leader, guiding his team on what to do in the next possession or providing feedback. However, this is Luka's only real flaw, so let's dive into why he should be the 2024 MVP, and why if he wins, he will be one of the most hated MVPs in history. The 2016-17 offseason saw Kevin Durant leave OKC after losing to the Warriors in the conference finals, leaving Westbrook as OKC's only star player. Westbrook then went on to average a triple-double, leading his team to the 6th seed and winning MVP after losing to James Harden and the Rockets 4-1 in the first round. Westbrook was the most important player on any roster that season, therefore he deserved to win MVP, despite not holding a high seed or advancing deep into the playoffs. Luka is in a similar situation this season. He is carrying an injury-riddled roster into the playoffs whilst averaging 33.6 points, 8.1 rebounds, and 9.1 assists, whilst having a 61% effective field goal percentage. But my ultimate issue with the award is how it's decided. Media, not players or coaches, get to decide on who wins the MVP award. And ever since Luka came into the league, media personalities like Stephen A. Smith, who yes gets to vote on MVP, have just outright hated on Luka as a player and an MVP candidate. Luka has been ranked 5th almost almost all season long on NBA.com's MVP rankings.
I don't see why he's not number one in the running for MVP. I don't get it.
My issue is that players and coaches should be the ones voting for who wins MVP, not just the media. In my opinion, this would result in a much less biased result, and a result that reflects the current most valuable player, not the most popular or the most victorious. What do you think about this? Don't forget to let me know below. Alperen Sengun has been playing like an NBA All-Star this season, but why? Find out more by checking out my breakdown of his game by clicking here.